Supernova is one of my favorite jokers. Like the other scaling jokers, it's underwhelming if you don't play around it. But if you do, it can single-handedly win you the run. The key to using Supernova well is finding plus chip effects. A high card by itself only has 15 chips at most, and no amount of molt can make that work. But if you add a single foil card, you go from 15 to 65 chips, which more than quadruples your score and makes Supernova actually playable. So, what happens when you put foil on Supernova itself? Let's find out together. Right away in the big blind, you can see that I'm able to 3-shot the fight using just the Supernova by itself. Ordinarily, 3-shotting the big blind isn't really a good result because you want to conserve your hands so you can get more money later on. However, using 3 hands right now is actually great for me because each time I play a hand, I'm increasing the value of Supernova by 1. So contrary to the usual Balatro philosophy of trying to one-shot as many fights as possible, my goal is actually to play as many hands as I can, and if my economy takes a little bit of a hit from that, it's okay because Supernova is going to be really powerful. Here, I use my double tag on the discard tag in order to get, I think, $14 total. That is kind of a lot of money for a skip, but the real benefit of this is that it means that from now on, my money will always be above 25 and I will be getting $5 of interest every single hand. Here I get an extremely lucky pickup. It is a Gros Michel with holographic on it, which is just a free 25 molts. And also, once I consume it, I have a chance of getting a Cavendish later on in the run. So between these two jokers alone, I've basically already won the run. One-shotting the boss here is actually not my favorite outcome because I would rather play more hands and grow Supernova even more. But I get a bunch of money off of it and I'll have plenty of opportunities to build up Supernova later anyway, so I'm not that upset about it. Paintbrush here pretty much just to spend my money, and also I buy the invisible joker, and my plan is to wait for the Cavendish to be consumed, then once it is, sell everything except for the Supernova and get 2 Supernovas. Right now my average score is around 2000 for a high card, which is going to keep on growing as Supernova gets bigger and bigger. And I get a Polychrome on invisible joker, which is kind of cool because Polychrome's a great effect, but I do intend to sell that for another Supernova, which I think is still going to be higher value, so if it had hit something else I would have been a little bit happier, but it's not that big a deal. With the Polychrome, I am now getting 3500 chips per hand, and I take Square Joker here, thinking that I can use it as extra chip scaling on top of the foil. So I do buy it here, but then later I think to myself, oh, I would rather get a guaranteed second Supernova versus hold the Square Joker where it could interfere with Invisible Joker, so I end up selling it anyway. I think both plays would have won me the run, but the double Supernova is more satisfying. Half Joker here in most circumstances would be really good. However, once again, I want to make absolutely sure that the Invisible Joker hits the Supernova, and if I buy Half Joker, I'm just going to have to sell it again later when I do sell Invisible Joker. Now that Gros Michel has been consumed, I can sell my other Jokers and then sell the Invisible Joker to clone Supernova, which means that every high card I play is going to grow my molt by 2 instead of 1. I have 100 chips instead of 50, and I'm more or less guaranteed to win the run. I also end up re-rolling into a banner, which is a really good pickup here. Functionally, this doubles my score because it's going to be worth 120 chips, and currently I have about 100 from the 2 Supernovas. That's the easiest way to do chips math. You calculate the ratio between the previous and the new chip value, and that ratio is how much your score gets multiplied by. I'm now scoring 9,000 chips per hand, which is going to keep growing, of course. And my next big purchase is Constellation. Constellation is tricky. It's really good, of course, if you get a lot of planet cards, but planet cards can be expensive to get in big numbers, and you need 10 of them in order to get the same value as a ramen, 20 of them if you're going to get the same value as Blackboard. So the conditions in which Constellation is good are if you have a really strong economy and you have a lot of rounds left to build up value, and you already have enough value in your other jokers that you have time to scale the Constellation. And all 3 of those things are true here. Anti-5 is still pretty early in the run, double Supernova plus banner will get me through basically every single fight, and with $38 I'll have plenty of money to buy every single planet card I see. I skip Golden Joker here, which is weird looking back on it. I actually could have bought that. I think my reasoning is that I already have so much money anyway, and I would really like to see a better Joker to go into that slot, ideally like a Cavendish or something. But looking back on it, I could have held the Joker for a couple of hands and it wouldn't have hurt my build. It probably wouldn't seem more than like $2 or $3 of profit overall, but it is a small improvement I could have made. I am now 2-shotting the Tooth with 18,000 chips per hand, and I pick up Abstract Joker here just to fill out my last Joker slot, really. The 15 molt is not going to win me the run necessarily, but it is nice to pick up that little bit of extra value, and if I do have to see the final boss with Abstract Joker still in my inventory, I'm not that upset about it. I can probably still win. So here I finally get to use up all of my double tags on the speed tag, which gets me, it looks like $40 total. I think this is the best way to use the Anaglyph deck. You let those double tags accumulate until you see something really good, and then you get just infinite money. Just so much money. I'm now at 27,000 chips per hand, and I do consider selling something to get misprint, but ultimately decide against it. I personally prefer to know for sure what value my hand is going to be each time, so even if misprint is slightly higher in value than one of the other jokers, the inconsistency makes me a little uncomfortable. With my insane economy, I can still buy every single planet card that I see, whether it's in a pack, whether it's in the shop, or anywhere else, and I'm currently at a 1.9 times on Constellation. So at this point, we've caught up in value to things like Ramen, to things like Seeing Double, and we're only on Ante 6, so we have a lot of room to grow. Here, I get a Mega Celestial pack, which I can double with my double tech. Most of the time, I don't like to make this play, but of course, with Constellation, that is another 0.4 times that I'm adding on. And loading into the next fight, I am now at 45,000 chips per hand. My build is exactly the same. The only thing that's changed is that Constellation has grown bigger and both of my Supernovas have grown bigger. And this is why scaling is so great. You can keep improving and keep up with the antes without actually changing your build. You just let your cards scale and do all the work for you. So here, I swap out Abstract Joker for a Polychrome Raised Fist. Raised Fist by itself is already more molt than the Abstract Joker, and the 1.5 times on top of that is just big. It's just a big number. I like big numbers in this game. So with my Raised Fist with Polychrome, I am now at 84,000 chips per card. You may recall that the final boss of this game takes 100,000 chips to kill, so we're doing really well. I buy a palette here, which gives me +1 hand size. I don't need it. It does not do anything to help my build. I just like it. I just saw it and I had $46, so I was like, yeah, I'll get that. And then in Ante 8, one of the last shots I'm going to see, a card sharp shows up out of nowhere. This is the perfect card. I'm only ever going to play high card anyway, so I will basically always get the maximum value out of card sharp. And as I load into the next fight, I am scoring 131,000 chips per hand. The icing on the cake, the last card I see in the shop, the last card I buy is the Cavendish, everybody's favorite joker. So you remember 100 years ago when I got that Gross Michelle and kept it for rounds and rounds and rounds hoping no get consumed? This is why you do it. It's all worth it when you see the Cavendish. And after a little bit more buying, selling, and optimizing, I play just some random card on the Cerulean Bell and casually score 107,000 chips. And I don't even trigger card sharp. So that's the run. That's Supernova. This is probably the best case scenario you could ever have with Supernova. You put foil on it, you get to duplicate it, and it just solves all of your problems for you. Now again, the weakness of Supernova that I want you to be aware of, you don't have any chips at all. And so if you get something like Stone Cards, if you get Hierophant, if you get Banner, if you get Blue Joker, if you get anything that has plus chips on it, that's what enables Supernova to work. And if you're very, very lucky, hopefully you'll just get foil on Supernova and the whole game will play itself. Thanks so much for watching. I'm going to try to make Balatro videos more frequently because I really like this game, but I get kind of bored of just playing the game normally, so leave a comment suggesting something for me to do next. Oh, and also, subscribe if you like the video. I am currently unemployed, so I have plenty of time to make more videos for you. See you next time. Catch you later.